This is the all-new Sony 14mm F1.8 G Master lens, and B&H sent me this a few weeks ago for me to review, and this is a really cool lens from Sony. I had a lot of fun with this lens. At this point, I've reviewed a lot of the new cameras from all the different brands, and when it comes to their image quality and their features or autofocus performance, they're all pretty similar nowadays, but one area that Sony is still so far ahead of everyone else is their lens selection. Funny how the tables have turned, isn't it? And lenses like this isn't necessarily essential to most photographers, but it's really nice to have this option for those who need it. I can see this particularly being popular for astrophotographers with this wide 1.8 aperture, but its compact size might also appeal to some ambitious vloggers as well. I actually love using ultra-wide angles for everyday street shooting as well. I mean, the composition can be a bit of a challenge when your lens literally captures everything that you see, but when it's done well, you can create some really dynamic and interesting shots. And if you pair it up with a high resolution body like the A7R III or 4, even if the composition is a little off, you can just crop it like it was shot with a 28 or a 35 and it'll still retain tons of resolution. Not much news in terms of hardware, it's just like any other G Master lenses, same design, same controls. It's about the same size as the new 35 1.4 GM lens, or just a little bit wider, but it's actually about 64 grams lighter than the 35. One difference compared to other G Master lenses, it uses rear-mounted gel filters instead of front-mounted filters because of the built-in lens hood. So maybe that's a downside for video shooters, I'm not sure, and because of the shape of the hood, attaching a third-party filter mount could be a challenge. And because this is such a wide-angle lens, the hood is pretty small and the front glass is quite large, so you have to be very careful when you're carrying this around. The focus ring feels a lot lighter than some other G Master lenses that I'm used to. Not sure why they always make it so different with every lens, but it still feels nice and very easy to control. And the throw is quite short, which is how I like it. Other than that, you still get the same G Master build quality, still no lock for the aperture ring, but overall very nice and quite appropriate for the price. And speaking of the price, this lens is $1,600 US, which isn't cheap, but that's actually the same price as the Sigma 14mm 1.8, which is a massive and massively outdated lens. And the Sigma lens is also about 2.5 times heavier, so this might be one time you won't need to worry whether you should get the Sony lens or a third-party lens to save money. The choice can't be more obvious. But of course, none of this would matter if the optics can't back it up. And in terms of optical performance, this is a pretty boring lens, and I mean that in a very positive way. The images are sharp with great contrast and color. The distortion is quite minimal for such a wide focal length, and the lines are dead straight where they need to be, and the images in general require very little work in post. A closer inspection in a more controlled environment revealed that it is indeed very sharp in the center and pretty much at any aperture. Even wide open, I did not notice any color fringing or loss of contrast. The corners were perhaps not as strong, but still quite sharp. And this is only in close range, so for things like landscape, it wouldn't matter much. The autofocus was never really an issue while testing this lens, although I did notice it hunting around or pausing every once in a while on my A7R III, but I think that had more to do with the camera and not the lens. Here, I attached it on my A6600 to test the video autofocus, and it obviously did really well, no surprises there, but one thing I did notice was that it is virtually silent. Have a listen. And like with most modern G Master lenses, it also did a pretty decent job against the flares. It actually took me some effort to get it to show on video at all. You can probably see why I call this lens boring. Even at 14mm, I'm seeing sharp images from corner to corner, and there's virtually no distortion anywhere, so yeah, all the reviewers would be out of jobs if all lenses performed like this. But of course, in terms of images that this lens can create, it's anything but boring. This lens can make pretty much anything look interesting but without any usual drawbacks, and for what it is and what it can do, the price isn't too bad either. So in other words, I would highly recommend this lens. So that's going to be it for me today. Thank you for watching, and if you have any more questions about the lens, just leave a comment down below and I'll try to get to them all. And if you are interested in purchasing one of these, please check out the B&H links in the description. And if you make a purchase through the link, you're not only supporting a great business, I also get a small commission from the sales, which helps me continue to create free contents like this for you. So thank you again, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.